The Jews have been persecuted for thousands of years. After the Holocaust, the Jews seek a place of refuge, a safe haven for other Jews to immigrate to. Promised by the British back in 1917 to help establish a national home for Jews in Palestine, they weren't given a home till 1947 after the recent Holocaust, which killed millions. But before Palestine could become a home for Jews, land in Palestine had to be carved out into Israel. But the land carved out for Israel was already occupied by Arabs. This created tension, which affected how the country would be split. After hearing the sides of both parties, a partition plan was created, a partition plan that both the Arab and Jewish advocates agreed upon. As a starting point, a line was drawn from Tel Aviv to the Dead Sea. This was eventually scrapped due to factors such as the population differences and unequal distribution, which could jeopardize peaceful coexistence. Due to Arabs making up 67% of the population and the Jews only 33%, it would be unfair if they both had an equal amount of land in correlation to their size. The first priority that was discussed was land and water quality. The Jews ended up with majority of first quality land, but it was balanced out by giving the Arabs majority of generally plentiful water, and more land that was in the range of poor and medium quality, with also access to the Dead Sea. The borders of the partition plan were thought out well enough that both ethnicities had equal access to the Mediterranean Sea and surrounding countries for trade. Another priority for the Jewish advocate was to have the four holy cities, Hebron, Safed, Tiberias, and Jerusalem. Both Safed and Tiberias were given to the Jews, but Hebron was made up of 99% Arabs and was too far of a distance from the rest of the agreed districts. The most important piece of land to the Jews, Jerusalem, was split down the middle so that West Jerusalem, including Jerusalem City, was given out to the Jews, and East Jerusalem was given out to the Arabs. This is because the Arab advocate acknowledged that although the Jews were exiled from Israel, it is still the birthplace of the Jewish people where their spiritual, religious, and national identities were formed. Because of how Jaffa and Ramleh were separating Jerusalem from the rest of Israel, both advocates couldn't agree on whether the Arabs or Jews would take it, and instead of splitting the districts, they both agreed on making Jaffa and Ramleh buffer zones, allowing easier traveling for both Arabs and Jews, protecting Jerusalem from being stranded in the middle of Palestine. The decisions in the final draft of the partition plan were driven by multiple factors, which allowed for peaceful coexistence between Israel and Palestine, the ability to trade with other countries, land and water for farming and drinking, and a safe place for Jews to migrate to.